Hello and welcome. I'm taking advantage of the nice day outside. It's gorgeous today. It's June 16th. And maybe I'll just sit down over here. And I'm at the sports park, as you can tell. I'm sure many of you recognize it from other vlogs. So I had a couple of lessons today at elementary school, 5th and 6th period. Shogakko today, and shogakko is the Japanese word for elementary school. I thought I would start my series that I want to discuss the differences between teaching at the 3 levels of public school in Japan. So as I've said before, I'm going to have lots more information about shogakko and junior high, shougakkou, than I will about koko, or high school, because I haven't really ever taught at high school other than a few just visits. But anyway, I'm going to start with the beginning, which is shogakko, which is elementary school. Before that, there's yochen, and that's kindergarten in Japanese. And before that, of course, there's preschool. You might get asked to teach at those levels. I never really was. The only thing I ever got asked to do at kindergarten was to be Santa Claus a few Christmases, and occasionally at a preschool as well. I would go out, and every now and then during summer, because they know that we don't have class, they'll ask the BOE, the Board of Education, you know, do you mind lending us your ALT for a few hours, and you'll go out to a preschool and do some kind of activity with the really young kids. We're talking 4, 5, 6 years old. Elementary school in Japan is grades 1 through 6. So ichi nensei to roku nensei, and so that's basically ages, say, 7 to age 12. Many of you will get asked to teach at shogakko because of the changes that are happening in the Japanese education system. And specifically, you might get asked to teach a lot of 5th and 6th grade classes, because the 5th and 6th grade are the 2 levels that are being kind of starting to have mandatory English starting in 2011. They're going to have a textbook, etc., which I'll talk about in another vlog. So, what are some of the challenges at teaching at elementary school? Well, for one, if you have little teaching experience, it might be a while since you've been that age. For me, I came to Japan when I was 35, which is much older than most of you will be when you come. So it had been a long time since I'd, you know, even interacted with a really young child. You know, the only person I really knew that was young was my niece, and she was about 14 or so when I left America. So it had been a long time since I'd you know, interacted with that age. It had been a long time, obviously, since I was that age. So relearning songs like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or how to do the hokey pokey, and you know, head, shoulders, knees and toes, all these songs. It took me, you know, some of them were brand new to me practically. And you will get asked to sing a lot. Especially if you do teach the younger grades. The good thing about teaching 5th and 6th graders is you can do more textbook, you know, writing activities, and the kids are a little bit more sedate at times. Of course, they're all super genki, but you know, the kids that are, you know, 1st, 2nd, and 3rd graders, kind of that under 10 age, you really do have to just be entertaining for 45 minutes as opposed to being a teacher. Let's see, so that's a challenge, maybe just reacquainting yourself with shogakko type of activities, playing fruit basket, doing all these types of games. Another thing, the biggest challenge for me and for many of you, especially if you don't speak a lot of Japanese, is going to be simply interacting with the staff, interacting with the HRTs, the homeroom teachers that you'll be assigned to team teach with. Most elementary schools, you know, still, you know, my elementary schools just vary so much in size. I have one class that's 4 students. I have another class that's 11. I have another class that's 18. A bunch of them are around 25 or 30. you know, it just depends. They take the total number and they usually divide it into 2 at least, but it varies quite a bit. So that's a challenge in and of itself, you know, gearing your game or whatever. You might have a game that works really well with, say, 25 kids, and then one day you'll be asked to teach both ichi-gumi and ni-gumi together. So all of a sudden you have 50 kids or 60 kids like I did today, and you have to think, well, will this game work with double the amount of kids? But getting back to it, so the HRTs, the homeroom teachers, are not required to know English. It's never been a mandatory subject in primary school, so most of them don't speak English well. A few, you're going to run into a few that try their best. Some will not try at all. And this goes to any type of teaching you do where you're the assistant. The teacher can make a big difference, and I'll talk about this more too when I talk about junior high, but in junior high at least, the teachers are trained English teachers. They had to, you know, take teacher training, get a license, etc. to teach English specifically. A homeroom teacher, as you know, they have to teach math and science and reading and music and art, and they teach everything to that group of kids. So English for most of them has always just been this fun activity they do maybe once or twice a term, and now what they're seeing is they have to do it, you know, once a week. I think they have to have 35 hours a year or something. So it's a big switch for them, and the basic thing is you're going to want to talk about your lesson. Well, today let's teach this, and then let's do this page in the book, etc., etc., and you'll have this thing thought out. And just simply communicating your ideas to this other adult that you have to teach with can be difficult at times because they just don't speak English, and until you get decent at Japanese, you're not going to be able to really express yourself well in Japanese. And I still struggle with that even after 5 years. So that is a large challenge. I'll probably make this 2 parts, so let's see. Now that I've talked about something that's a challenge, let's talk about something that's a reward. The kids at Shougakko are amazing. Most teachers, most ALTs rather, will tell you that they love going to shogakko because it's just this unconditional love. You know, the kids just run up to you, Jason Sensei, Jason, you know, and they just go crazy when they see me. And it's just such a good feeling. Sometimes you'll be at junior high school, and your kids are kind of like, yeah, you know, they've had their day, they're taking tests, they're dealing with teenage angst, all the other stuff, and you'll go and you'll teach at elementary school, and it's just such a breath of fresh air sometimes. Sometimes it's almost too much. I can come home from a day where I have 3 or 4 elementary school lessons just exhausted, because you have to be on when you're teaching for those 45 minutes. The kids really require you to hold their attention for that entire time. And it's not something you're just going to be able to do right away. You have to learn how to do it. It's an acquired skill. And the great thing about JET is that it's fairly, you know, accepted that it's on-the-job training. Most JETs do not come over with teaching degrees or prior teaching experience. So don't worry if you're not so good when you first start out. You'll get better. You'll figure out what works. You'll figure out how to keep their attention. You'll figure out how much Japanese you can get away with to direct the activity. This type of thing. So would I want to teach only at shogakko? No. Which is another reason why when I leave JET, I don't want to go teach at Eikaiwa, because most language schools require you to teach very young children, and I have no interest in that. I enjoy it, and as a diversion from my junior high school, it's nice. But for me, I want to be able to interact with the kids on a little bit higher level. And I want to teach more than just colors and numbers and the days of the week, etc. But I do get a real kick out of it, and some of my best memories of teaching and some of the best student interaction moments I've ever had are definitely at elementary school. So it's been a good mix for me. If you had asked me 5 years ago, do you want to teach this age group, I would have just flat out said no, I have no interest. And At first I wasn't very good, but you get better. And now I think I can hold a classroom like I did today. I had a classroom of 60 kids, and for 45 minutes they were mine, you know. You will get better at it, you know, especially if you stay as long as I have. So shougakko is a challenge. The best thing I can recommend is start studying Japanese. The more Japanese you know, the easier it will be to interact with the staff that you're going to have to teach with, and to be able to talk to the kids, because they speak no English outside of the classroom. If you're going to eat lunch with them or go to recess with them, it's all going to be in Japanese, or else they're just not going to be able to understand you, and you're not going to be able to understand them. So I think the rewards are good at shogakko, but the challenges are big. So that was part 1. Hopefully I'll do a part 2 soon, and of course I will also talk about junior high and high school. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.